lot of the business owners that I work with, and even the ones that I talk to, they make this mistake that I used to make when I was running my business and the service, like the home service side. The issue is everyone overcomplicates everything, and they make things to be this long, drawn out process, when if you take your business and if you simplify it and simplify it and simplify it and simplify it, you get it down to like one core sentence, one core value. What's the main thing that you do? Once you know that, it's just about telling as many people about it as possible. So for a power washing company, like, it can be as simple as we clean any exterior of your home. Like, it's super simple, it's super basic, it's pretty broad, it's pretty vague, but you want to get what you do as simple as possible. You don't want to use big fancy words for no reason. And the strategies to tell people about this, you can start to get very creative with. Hey, you can go door knock, you can have flyers, you can have a social media strategy, you can have a paid ad strategy, you could do mailers, you could do billboards, you can do cold calls, you can do cold emails, you can do DMs. There are so many ways that you can do outreach that it more depends on actually picking a few. Because if you try to do them all, there's too many, and then you end up not doing any of them because then you're overwhelmed. And again, it goes back to the overcomplicated. When you try to make it this super long, drawn out process with all these moving pieces and all these parts and all these things, it becomes very difficult to maintain. When you have a very simple structure, and if it's, hey, we're gonna make social media videos, we're gonna get organic leads, and it's like, okay, you need to spend a bunch of your time working on hooks, you need to spend a bunch of your time actually then just filming and editing videos and actually scheduling them to post. And outside of that, you don't really need to do much else. Like, yes, you can add an actual cold outreach strategy on top of that. You can do other things on top of that, but you also can just double down, triple down on making content and have an actual system for it. And once you have a system for it and it becomes very easy, now it takes you half the time of when it originally took you when you first got started doing it. So now you're more efficient with it and you can do more. And once you're efficient, then it opens up the gaps in the time. Because let's say you work on content for 4 hours. You get a little more efficient over time of just working on content 4 hours, 5 days a week. If you get to the point where it now, hey, you put out the same amount of content, but you now get it done in 2 hours. Okay, well, you've saved yourself half of the time. So what are you going to do with the extra 2 hours? You can now double the output, and now you can produce more videos. The fact that it now takes you 2 hours to do what you used to be able to do in 4 hours. So you should, in theory, just double your output and now produce twice as much videos, which is more than likely what you end up going to do because you're very efficient at it. Once you become efficient at it, you understand where you're good, where you're not as good, how to make those tweaks. But if you don't pick an avenue and kind of fall into that avenue and just kind of fall in love with it and get as good as you can with it, it's like someone who makes cold calls and you only make 5 calls a day. Now, you're going to get better in those 5 calls a day, but it's going to be a really, really long process. And at 5 calls a day, it's tough to be able to actually see your numbers at scale, because let's say at those 5 calls, well, who knows if those 5 people were actually the right person that you should have talked to. Maybe you're dealing with an actual gatekeeper when you could call 5 people the next day and you have a better list of numbers, and that's the actual owner, or that's the GM, or that's something like that, where sometimes your list, like, that's just how it works out. So you might change a script, you might change something, but if you can have the discipline to call 5 people a day every single work day, and you do that for months, then that would be something that's different. But if you like change the script after every single call, then you can't do that. You have to stay disciplined to get enough data to be able to make an educated decision when it comes to, okay, if 2 of 5 people gave you a bad review for the, let's say like the phone call or whatever it is. Like 2 of 5 people said something negative. And now you go, okay, that's 40%. I want to change my script. It's not a big enough sample size because it's only 5 people. Now in the week, it's at 25. Even then, for cold calls, it's not really a lot. In the month, at 100, and if 40% are telling you, okay, now you can actually mock it and change it, because that takes some effort. But there's people who do 100 calls a day. So think about that number and how it gets skewed, but it goes to, you will be more efficient with phone calls over time. You'll be more efficient when a certain person answers the phone. You will be able to get past the gatekeepers. You will be able to be more persuasive. You will be better with the script. But it's really tough to get really, really good at cold calling, and really, really good at making content, and really good at cold emails, and really good at print mailers, and really good at billboards. Like, if you have all of these different camps and all these things that you're doing, you don't have enough time to invest into one. Where I still say, yes, you should still spread out and like have multiple things that you're doing, because you have a long work day. But you need about 2 to 4 hours dedicated to one particular focus, and then you can sprinkle and do some others in there, because there's so many other things that you're going to have to do as a business owner. You wear so many hats. There's fires you're putting out every single day. Like, there is not a day that goes by where you're not going to have something random, something crazy, something off scripted that's going to happen. No matter what, that's going to happen as a business owner, and you're the person that has to handle it. You're the person that has to deal with it. And until you have an actual team around you that you can then say, hey, you go and deal with this, you put this fire out. At the beginning, in the early stages, you're the only one. You're the marketer, you're the advertiser, you're the creator, you're the handyman, you're the social media guy, you're the website guy, you're the support staff, you're the sales staff. Like, when you start out and it's just you at the beginning, you wear every single hat. So what are you gonna do when a random problem comes up? Are you gonna not do your outreach? Are you going to take time away from working on something that's a back end? Are you going to take time from working away from the offer? Are you going to take time from actually working with your clients? Like, there's so many different areas and so many different things that you have to do every single day. But if you can have a dedicated system where you spend 2 to 4 hours on one particular outreach method, and you make it super simple, and you just focus on that same thing every single day, you keep hammering it out, you keep doing it, over time you're going to get very efficient at it, you're going to get very good at it, but more importantly, you're always going to have constant leads. You're always going to have people that are interested in your business, because you're going to be doing the outreach. And as long as you stay consistent with it, you're going to gain ground. If you start digging a hole and you just are consistent with taking the shovel and you just are tossing dirt, taking the shovel, tossing dirt, taking the shovel, tossing dirt, you don't move drastically fast, you don't do anything, you know, like, oh, I gotta dig this all in one day. No, it's just, you move a little bit every single time, little bit every single time. You just keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over. And then you look back at it over, you know, a handful of months, and then next thing you know, there's this giant hole in the ground. It's why? Because you stayed consistent. You just consistently moved dirt. You consistently made progress, and it's the exact same thing with outreach. Every single business struggles because no business owner does enough outreach. And the reason they don't is because they have too many hats that they're wearing, and so they have to put out too many fires, and there's too many other things that they have to do that they then see as more important, rather than, hey, doing outreach and we kind of have some money coming in right now, so I actually don't need, you know, this outreach, or you know, I don't need to make the cold calls today, or I don't need to make the content today, or, you know, I could push that off. If you keep doing that, then next thing you know, you look up after a couple customers churn out, and then you don't have any customers. And then it gets right back to that scramble in that super stressful period where you then go, oh my gosh, I now need to do as much outreach as possible. I lost all my clients, or I only have one client, or I only have 2 clients, and that doesn't cover my total expenses. And now you're absolutely in this mad dash, and you're super stressed out, and life is miserable. And it's because you have so many things that you have to do. You have so many things that you're responsible for. But until you understand how to get leads consistently, and until you understand how to grow your business, not overnight in just one fell swoop, until you understand how to consistently gain ground with your business, you're going to be in this perpetual struggle, in this perpetual stressful situation. I know, because I was there. I had a snow removal company, and it was an outdoor company, but the snow removal is ultimately what ended up closing the doors. So I went through failure. I went through what was originally, it started as a power washing thing, and I was super happy, and I had low overhead, and I was making a bunch of money, and it wasn't really anything. And then I moved up to North Dakota, and now I'm doing this still power washing thing, but the power washing doesn't make as much sense, and winter comes around, and I'm super fired up. I'm super pumped because I was studying, I was doing my research, and I was like, all right, snow removal time. And I did snow removal, and you know what, I got a bunch of clients, and I was making money, and it was doing great. Got hit with a couple blizzards. I bit off more than I could chew. I ended up having more clients than I was able to handle myself at the capacity when we got hit with the blizzard. I didn't have the right equipment to match the output of what the blizzard put down, and it just ended up being what a normal house from start to stop, from the time I pull up to the time I'm leaving, was anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes depending on how much snow fell. We got hit with a couple blizzards, was a ton of snow, and that start to stop time was a little bit over an hour. So when you had 27 clients, it's great when it's 5 to 15 minutes. You can bang that out, and it's like, yes, it's a full day's worth of work, but you can finish that in a day. You can finish that in hours. Not, hey, what, hey, it's been 12 hours, we haven't seen you. Hey, it's been 20 hours. Hey, we haven't seen you yet. Because the thing was, that was the average. I had some where they were a lot bigger and they were taking longer than an hour. But it was just me. I bit off more than I can chew. I didn't have the correct equipment to handle that amount of snow. I took a risk. I took a gamble. Now, was I making money? Was it working? Was I able to get clients? Yes. But the problem was, I actually got too many clients. Then I couldn't fulfill on it. And that's how I lost business. So for some people, maybe you're in that same situation. Maybe you bit off more than you can chew. But for other people, maybe you haven't bit off enough, and that's why you can't hire a person on your team. You can't hire a person to be able to come help you out because you're barely scraping by. Your expenses are just more than you're making, and so you can't bring someone else on because you can't afford to pay someone. Well, if you doubled your leads, you could be able to pay someone. You might be able to pay 2 more people. So is it overcomplicating business? No, it's maybe just a struggle with, hey, you got to wear so many hats in the business. I understand that. And you know what? Going through that failure taught me a lot. It taught me, well, there was things that worked. There was things that definitely didn't work. What were the things that I'd probably change? In terms of getting leads, I wouldn't really change much. The differences and the changes that I would have made still go back to the equipment. I made a couple equipment decisions that I probably shouldn't have. I went with, a slightly smaller but lighter machine. It was super efficient. It was great. It worked great for the season, which is why that 5 to 15 minute window was phenomenal. So it was a little bit easier to maneuver. It was, good for anything less than 5 inches, and that was kind of more where we average. And I took that risk. I took that gamble of, hopefully we won't get hit with, an 18-inch blizzard. And lo and behold, we got hit with, 14 inches. And you can't handle that. And so I learned that lesson. But still, when it goes back to getting leads and having clients, like as a one-man show, I was able to get clients. I was able to get leads. Still to this day. It's the reason why a moving company that I helped start, and from the very beginning, that's the reason that was able to do, I think it was like 15 or 17 grand in the first 6 weeks, like from the jump, with $0 in advertising. Like, we were able to acquire customers for $0 because I understand how to get leads. I understand how to get clients, and I know how to do it at scale for free and organically, and the basically road team way, street team way, like physically boots on the ground. Or we can do it on the ad side, where I'm a part of, you know, my marketing agency. We manage millions of dollars a month in ad spend. So it's like we kind of have the best of both worlds here. So it's like, hey, if you want to figure out how to run the social media side, you want to figure out how to get really, really good with social media, you want to have someone run your social media and understand how to get actual reach and how to get actual clients from social media. It's not, oh, we're going to follow this trend, we're going to do this crazy dance thing. Like, no, we're going to use social media to get clients, and that's the way to do it. We're going to grow your business online and create it to be an actual brand. We're going to make people recognize who you are because of what you do. That's going to get you a lot of clients. Or you just want to run ads, you want clients right now, you want to spend money, and you're going to make money because we have a system that's already built. We know the ways that we need to do it, how to target, the correct words to use. So that's kind of how it is. We have the best of both worlds. And if you're a business owner and that sounds interesting to you, then just go ahead and leave a comment and we'll reach out. Talk to you soon.